Hello, friends. Welcome to Charlie's Creative Corner. If you are new here, I welcome you to my channel. If you are a regular, yes, I'm still alive. I'm here. I know it's been a really long time. A long time. Way too long. I'm sorry, all. I have not forgotten you. I just kind of took a break. And a break never hurts anybody, right? It's always a good thing to kind of step back and take a break from all the technical stuff. And we had a pretty decent summer here, so I can't complain. I had a lot of great outdoor time, a lot of birding happening, a lot of bird watching, a lot of hiking, just kind of enjoying summer. I don't even know what happened on the last video. I don't even know how long ago it's been, but just know that I am doing well and things have changed, like always. I haven't really been doing a lot of beading recently, and I feel kind of like a bad girl for saying that. I feel bad about it. But with me, I'm a very creative type, and I know a lot of creative types who are similar, who get into something for a little while, and then they get into something else, and then they put that aside and get into something else. And that's kind of the creative person that I am. So that's why it's called my creative corner, because there's so much creativity going on. Nothing wrong with that at all. Now, one recent thing that has changed is we got another cat. Now, I have two kittens before. I had my little female kitten and my little male, and their brother and sister. And they are doing very good, just healthy as ever. And we were outside, and it's been really cold here recently, and we put a cat that we had seen run by. I'd seen him run by my house multiple times, even last winter. And I named him Gargoyle because he looked kind of, scruffy and rough. And so he came by our yard. He had been drinking out of our bird bath, and he had come by and he just sat there and kind of stared at my husband. And he gave him some food, and then he wouldn't leave. So we fed him for a long time. I made him a very elaborate outdoor cat bed with Tupperware and straw and insulation and blankets. And I mean, it was amazing. He didn't stay in there for very long because we brought him inside. I renamed him. He is missing an ear, completely gone. And the other is kind of halfway gone. And so I named him Vincent, after Vincent van Gogh. I thought it was very fitting, and it fits him quite well. So currently he is in my room, my craft room, to kind of be under quarantine until he gets to the vet, which the vet visit is coming up next week. And just to make sure he's got a clean bill of health and that it would be safe to introduce him to my other kitties. So for right now, he's kind of in recovery. He had a lot of issues. He ear mites and fleas and worms and just not looking good, really skinny. So we've been kind of slowly nursing him back to health. I do believe you can see him. He's a very happy kitty right now. He's sleeping on my chair. He's a very sweet cat. So he deserves as much love as we can give him. He's a good kitty, and he's doing much better than he has been. He's already gaining weight. He's already in a better mood. So I will kind of keep you posted on that and how it's going. I have been doing a lot of diamond painting, and I'm working on a real big one called the War Horse. It's really beautiful. I will show that another day. I don't have it in here with me, but I kind of put that down. Can't make up my mind. And lately I've been doing a lot of cross stitching. Now, I have been an avid cross stitcher for 5 or 6 years now. So it's something that I do a lot of. And I know this might not be up our alley and what we're used to here on my channel, because we're used to beadwork. And don't get me wrong, we'll go back and forth to beadwork. Just stick with me you're going to see all sorts of stuff on this channel. Like I've already had like the felt sewing and things like that. So I like to put a lot of different things up and find your niche, find what you like, and go with it. But today, I thought we'd kind of go over some cross stitching. And I was thinking that maybe we can do like a little bit of like stitch alongs where we can sit and chit chat and cross stitch and kind of hang out. And those are always fun to do. I always enjoy watching them. I do that with some other floss tube channels. I started a floss tube channel years ago, but I just didn't stick with it. It just wasn't working for me. I didn't have the right camera and the right setup. So it was one of those things that didn't really stick. But I thought we'd go over that today. Now, I don't know if anybody here has done any cross stitching at all. It's very standard, very simple, but very fun and relaxing. And so I have a few WIPs, works in progress, that I am working on, and we'll go over those. But I went to the thrift store and I got a whole kit for free. Well, not free, but it came in like a bunch of stuff. There was like a package of like fabrics and things like that, and it was in this. So I considered it like a free kit because kits are kind of expensive. So this one was cheap. I'm guessing probably like $1. But I thought we could go through this and I can show you how to start a kit and how to kind of get going on cross stitching. Now, cross stitching can be kind of daunting at first, where you're kind of like, whoa, there's a lot going down here. There really isn't. There's not that much happening here. Okay, it's cross stitches on a piece of fabric with different colors. That's pretty much it. There's a few other stitches. I've gone over some of them, like the French knot and things like that. But I thought we could open one up and I'll show you how to get it going and things like that. And I can also show you my works in progress. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I want to, because I love cross stitch. I'm not going to lie. It's very fun. It's very exciting. But another thing is that I've been wanting to try to incorporate beading with cross stitch. Now, that's something that might be coming down later on in the line. It might not come down at all. It depends on how good I go with it or how badly I fail at it. It's something I've been kind of looking into. I guess it's a really big thing over in the Ukraine. And they do have like beaded stitch kits that you can buy. But I've been wanting to kind of try it on my own with my own patterns. And just try it in general. I've never done it before. So that might be something later on down the line. But I thought I could warm us all up and kind of get us all going and maybe teach people how to do some things that they aren't normally used to doing with the cross stitching. But we can maybe incorporate beading into it later. Like I said, beading is not out the door. I still have tons of supplies I gotta use. Not even kidding. I got tons. So they will be getting there. Oh, I did want to show you recently. Where did I put that? One second. Okay, now the beaded bag that I was working on, I have gotten a little bit more done. And it's getting closer. I don't know if I've shown you guys this or not. I really love these alabaster beads. They're so gorgeous. I love that kind of clear, almost like a quartz looking to it. But the turquoise came in real pretty, and I like the yellow with the black edge there. Turned out real nice. I only have this little spot here of the triangles, of the triangles on either side. And that's all I got left on this one. There's another piece. But as soon as I get this beaded, I'm going to do a video of putting it together. I haven't beaded in a long time. I guess I kind of just get creative based on and around my moods. So we're going to kind of go through some cross-stitch stuff today, and we'll kind of see how it goes. Let me know in the comments if you guys like the video, if you like the idea, if you've been wanting to learn to cross-stitch, or any questions or whatever you might have. I kind of would like to know some feedback on what you think of this. If you don't like it, you don't got to watch it. You know, I'm sorry. I know it's been a long time since I've been back, but I want to try something different and add a little different flavor to the channel. So I'm going to turn us around and we will get going on starting the kit and how to get started. And maybe just hopefully we can get a little bit of stitching in today too. That'd be great. So I will see you in 1 second. Get started here. I changed my mind on our kit we're going to start with because that one was missing a few things. So I dug deep and I actually did find a kit. So we will get going on that in 1 second. I wanted to show you some of my finished pieces. I have my little finished pieces wall. That one there is my first one I ever did. And that was a long, long time ago. And this is my Halloween one, did in 2019. This one, I love this one. This one's one of my favorites. That one I did in 2020. And there's a little cupcake card. It's pretty cute. This one here, I didn't sign, so I don't remember when I did that one. Really like that one. This is one of my faves. I love this girl. The light's kind of in the way. It says Once in a Blue Moon. Love, love, love that one. And then, oh, dropping stuff. Bumped into my lamp and I dropped the shade. And that one there is my field mice. They are super duper cute. And then this one here is my Garfield that I've done. And I've done others. I just don't have them all out. Oh yeah, and then there's the Autobahn one that I did of the Goldfinch. I love this one. It's a book that I have and I want to slowly work my way through all the birds, but you know, I have 800 million others going on. I'm going to fix this lamp and set you guys back up. I will be right back. Okay, geez Louise, I have been so clumsy lately, I swear. Now, I'll show you the 2 whips I'm working on now. I also have another one. It was done for my kitty that passed away. He was my best friend in the world. His name was Hermes, and he was part Persian. Part Silver Point Persian. So he was a beautiful, sweet little thing. And I found a cross stitch that looked just like him. But the thing about it is the pattern is 7 pages long. So I've been working on it for over a year. And I will show you that eventually someday. But today, the room, I don't have space today. So this one right now, I'm trying to get this one done. It shouldn't take much longer. Is this little sampler. This is just a mini sampler. It's going to be a banner. I'm going to hang it with like a banner. And it says, I will cross that stitch when I get to it. So cute. And it has a little alphabet down here. And I'm on the little hearts, and there's going to be more flowers on there. So that one won't take much longer to finish off. I've been working on that one a little. I put that one down for a long time, and I just found it in the closet when I found this guy. So I was like, well, geez, why don't I finish that? It's almost done. It's so close. So that's one of them I've been working on. And then the other one is called Goose on a Quilt. And that's what I got done so far. I love the fabric on this one. I picked this up at the Goodwill, and it even has a frame. So when I'm finished, I can show you guys. But that one's been really fun. I've really enjoyed that one. And that's the 2 I've been working on top of the big one for my cat that passed away. I've been working on that one also. Now, so as far as like what you're going to need, it's not really that many things. You don't need a whole lot of stuff. So the number one thing I would recommend is definitely a highlighter comes in handy to mark your graph. And that way you kind of know where you've been and you don't get so confused and kind of lost in the pattern. A needle threader, you can get these for real cheap. Over in the sewing section, you can also get them in the embroidery and cross stitch section. I prefer these little simple ones here. I don't know if you can see that. Real simple, easy to use. And the other thing is I use just one straight pen. You don't even need that. If your kit came with a needle, you don't even need needles. So Most of these kits come with needles, okay? This one here did. So you don't even need to get needles unless you want extras in case. I do have a tendency to mine will bend over time and kind of take this weird form. I don't know why. I think I would just hold the needle in the same position at all times or something. I don't know. Mine does that sometimes though. And the last thing I would say would be a hoop or a scroll frame. I have a scroll frame here. This is what I'm going to use for this one. And we'll get into how to load one of these. These are kind of complicated. These are more expensive. If this is something you want to try out and see if you like, I would recommend getting a hoop because they're like 70 cents. Okay, these are like 25 bucks. So it's all, if you think it's something you're going to do and you're going to like, then go ahead and invest in it. But if it's something you're trying out and you don't know and you're still kind of on the fence about, I would definitely just get a cheap little hoop. They work just fine. I use them. I use both kinds. So that's not an issue there. Now, the next thing I would recommend is these are little bobbins for your thread. We'll get into how to load them and things like that. You can get a pack of these. I think I got these at Walmart for $1.50 or $1 or something. They do come with the little hoop to put them on. And these are really nice for holding your floss. And I can mark on them on pencil what they are, and I can erase them and I can reuse them because they are plastic. So you can make these with cardboard if you wanted. Like if you have an old like cereal box or something like that, you can make a similar shape and just cut them out. And I have done that. I'm not going to lie. I have done that. So when you're in a pinch and you need a bobbin, you can always do that. It's definitely an option. Trying to think if there's anything else you need. A comfortable spot, maybe a cat or dog to sit in your lap with you, or whatever pet makes you comfortable. And a good show to watch or something like that, because it's always nice to watch a good show while you cross stitch. Now, as far as we go here with the kit here. Oh, and another thing, I'm sorry, I didn't even mention a pair of scissors. I prefer a little pair of embroidery scissors. I believe mine are in here. Let me find them. Yes, they are. These are, I just use, these are my fancy ones. These are my fancy embroidery scissors. I love these things. They're really sharp and they cut the thread wonderfully. You can use any scissors you want. You could use like a little pair like this, anything, but I prefer something little. It'll fit easier in, like I do a little tray. I have a little tray that I have with each project. So cigar boxes make great cross stitch trays to just like close them or open them and go and sit in the couch and do your thing. Really good thing. And good lighting is another big thing with cross stitch. You want good lighting. So you got your kit here. Now as a beginner, I'm going to highly recommend a smaller kit. Now, when I say smaller, I mean like a smaller area to stitch. You don't want to go out and do like I'm doing with that one with 7 pages. So you're going to get frustrated. You're not going to have a finished project to enjoy. And it's probably going to scare you away. So like this one here is a 5 by 7. Okay, so that's 5 inches by 7 inches. That's not very big. Okay, you can even go smaller. They have little itty bitty ones. I have a set that I have it out in my living room. And one's a cardinal and the other one is a hummingbird. And they were like this big maybe. So the smaller, the better when you're beginning. Now, so you get your kit and you're going to open it up. And inside, you're going to have everything that you're going to need to do this, okay? So you're going to have your instructions and your chart, okay? Open it up. There's all your instructions in here. And then when you open it up all the way, you have your chart. Okay, now I have to be very careful with the chart. I can't really show charts because there's copyright laws. And so I have to be very cautious when I try and show you how to do this. which just sucks because there's so much I could teach you. And I'm not doing this for money purposes, but they are very picky if you show charts. But I will do what I can to show you how to do it. So that's your chart and your instructions, which you have to do it with the chart, so don't lose your chart. And the next thing you're going to have is your fabric. Okay, now this is a 14 count Aida fabric, and Aida is an even weave. And what I mean by that, you can see that here. See those little squares? And you see you can kind of make a little square with each one. Well, that's where we're going to make our cross stitches, okay? And 14 count basically means you will have 14 stitches to every inch. So if you want 1 inch, it will be 14 cross stitches, okay? So if you had a 12 count Aida, it would be 12 cross stitches per inch. So that's kind of a way to kind of tell what size, because there's different sizes of these that you can get. So for a beginner, I definitely recommend a 14 count. 14 count Aida. This is called 14 count Aida fabric. And the reason I say that is because it's not going to be too small. And you don't want it to be so small. Like I've gotten some that are really tiny and you're thinking, whoa, it gets to be a little too much. 14 counts kind of, to me, about the perfect size. And it just makes it a lot easier, especially if you have vision problems and things like that. And I don't have the best vision in the world myself. So there you go. You got your Aida. And then this one did not have a needle because this was a used from the thrift store. And you're going to need a needle. And that'll come in there. So your needle usually will be just pinched through like this onto your fabric. You'll see it on your fabric. Sometimes they put it on the instructions. It depends on the company, but you'll see it pinned in somewhere. And then the last thing you're going to have in there is going to be your floss. Now, the floss is it's called embroidery floss, but your number one floss that you will see in America is the DMC floss. DMC kind of rules the floss world. There are some very fancy, beautiful, hand-dyed, amazing flosses in the world. The second one down from DMC would be like anchor flosses. And you will see there is a conversion chart also for all of them. So each one of these flosses will have a number, and that number is the color. And when you buy, say you have a pattern and you're going to buy floss for that pattern, always make sure or do your best to get all of the skeins that you will need, because they use different dye lots. So say you're working on it for a couple months and oh no, I'm short one, and you go to get one and it's the same color, but you get it home and it doesn't look the same at all. That's because they're all hand dyed, and the dye will be different with each lot they do. So always try and make sure you have the right amount of floss for your project, and try to get it that when you go to get it. Now, most companies with kit are going to just bunch up together all that floss and do a big mess, okay? Now, you can see what I've done here. I've already taken my floss here and separated it. Now, on my chart, I'm going to go to my instructions here, because here I can see what colors there are in it, how many lengths of each color there are, okay? So when I separated this, I said, okay, there's a lemon yellow color, and there's 4 lengths of that. So I knew I separated all my yellows apart, and then I separated the yellows from each other, and there's 4. This one here is light golden yellow with 3, and this one here is golden yellow with 9. So I knew that I had all the floss I needed right there with the yellows. Now we're going to do that again, and I'm going to do that with the greens. So I'm going to, let me bring you into this, attach, hang on. Okay, that should be a little better. You're kind of far away. So I'm going to push these up here so they're not going to get tangled up with the others. And I'm going to separate my greens. So I see I got some greens here. We'll pull those out of there. Okay. And there's a few more. This might take a minute, and it always does. Setting up is always the longest part of this, and finishing. depending on how you're finishing your project. Some people make pillows, some people frame them. It just kind of depends on what you're doing. Now, here's another one. Okay, so see, I'm separating these greens out of here. And I like to separate based on kind of how the eye sees the colors. So, oh, those are definitely green. So I will always separate all of my greens and all of my blues and all of my grays and whites and, you know. So I got these here. And these are definitely the same color here. These two guys are definitely the same color. And then I think this one's the same as that. Now on my chart, it's telling me that there is 4, let's see, where are we? 4 greens and 3 dark greens. So that looks like 4, oh no, that's not the right color. See how easy it is. This one's a dark green for sure. There's got to be a light green somewhere. Now these all look the same. This is where the lighting comes in handy too. Those are all the same. Okay. So I got green, dark green. I'm missing one. I need another green somewhere in here. There it is. He's down here hiding. See, and that helps because then you know, like that happens and you're counting them and you're like, oh wait, something ain't right here. There we go. And there we have our greens. So it does make it go a little bit faster. Now, I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to do that off camera because this is the part that takes a while. So I'm going to show you how I organize my threads. Like I said, you can make little bobbins like this, okay? And say you have a bobbin like this, okay? Maybe you don't, but you can even trace the bobbin that you have and cut your little slits in it, and you have a handmade bobbin. That way you don't have to pay for it. But today I'm going to use this because I have some sitting in my box over here. So now, in my chart, I gotta fold this so I'm not like showing the entire pattern. So in my chart, you're going to see when you, this is a different list from the list we were just looking at showed us how many lengths there were, okay, of each color, so we could separate them and know what color is what, because some colors look very close to one another. So you always want to make sure, as I've been confused by it a few times, but take your time and do it. I know it's really hard because you really want to just get into it, but you want to take your time to do it and do it right. You don't want to mix up colors. It might set your whole picture off. So this is your symbol list, okay? And the symbols are what's in this graph to tell you what color. So each one of these little pictures represents a color. And these, like our lemon yellow right here, our lemon yellow, it's going to focus. There it goes. Is this crazy like E thing. So this is my lemon yellow. This pattern does not give me the DMC numbers. But personally for me, when I do one, most of them now, this might be because this is an older pattern. That's probably why. But like for the one I'm doing now, as you can see, you see these little numbers I have on each side, 3325, and then this one's 930. Well, that represents that number for that color. So if I say went to the store, I was like, oh man, I'm out of 930, I could go over to my craft store, look at the single embroidery flosses that they have, and get my 930 that I need. So I always like when they give the DMC. This one does not, but like I said, this is like a retro pattern. I think it's from the early 90s. Now, so our lemon yellow was, I'm going to get my pencil. Any pencil will do. I like the mechanical because they have a nicer tip to them, like their sharper tip. Bring it in just a touch. Now our lemon yellow was this symbol. So I'm going to put that little symbol over in the corner, if I can replicate that symbol. Like that. We'll just kind of do that. Okay, so this is our symbol. So I drew that up in the corner. And then I'm just going to grab a piece of floss here. And I'm just going to put it on my bobbin. Like so. Just twist and twist and twist and go around. And then clamp it on. And I'm going to do this with all these threads. Just like so. Super easy. Helps keep things organized. Makes it faster to find your color. Also, you aren't sitting and searching around for it. And it keeps things from getting tangled up. And the last thing you want is a tangle, because embroidery floss is so hard to untangle. It is no fun whatsoever. So, that is that. Whoops. And you don't want to, you don't need to wrap it too tight, but it's tight enough to where it's going to hold on to it. And then I'm going to stick it on my hoop. Okay. And there we have our first bobbin. Now you're going to do this all the way down your list with every color that you have. And it might seem like it's time consuming, but like I said, you're going to save time because you're not going to get tangled up. You're not going to tangle your thread and have giant knots and ruin your thread and then have to go hunt thread down. So you are going to be saving yourself time in the long run when you bobbin your embroidery floss. So our next one here is the golden yellow, which is a lighter colored here. And that symbol is a little star. Okay, so I'm going to put a star over here. Oh, I can't do that. Hang on. Yep, see? Now I made mine look like it's filled in. But there is a filled in star symbol here. That's dark blue. So I have to erase that and try that again. And that's what's great about this is you can just erase that off of there and do it again. So I'm going to try. I never make stars without drawing the lines through them because it's hard. Oh, that's terrible. Close enough. I'll know what it is. That's all that matters. Okay. And then we just thread these up. And that is how we bobbinate our threads. I don't know why I called it bobbinate, but that's what I'm going to call it. And so I am going to finish up organizing my floss. I still have this giant ball of mess. Don't you love how they give it to you? And I will be right back, and we can maybe start getting some stitches in. So I have everything labeled and bobbined up here. Way more organized, way more easy to handle. And as you can see, I have all my numbers here. And there's also half stitches in this, which we'll get into eventually. And I labeled my half stitches on the other side, so I know what's what. Okay, now our first step into all of this is to prepare our fabric here. Now, I use a straight pin when I do this. You don't have to. What you want to do is you want to find the center of your fabric, okay? So I just fold mine over one direction and just press it gently. It'll hold the shape, so you don't have to worry about that. And then again on this side. like that. They were a little crooked when they folded it to put it in the... And so I kind of fold mine into a little square like that. And then I will just kind of gauge where that center is. And then I stick a straight pin in it. And then I have my center. And I leave that straight pin in until I am ready to begin stitching. Now, we need to get on a hoop or a scroll. I'll show you how to hoop it. I'm pretty sure we can all figure it out, but it's easy enough. You want to center it in your hoop. And I just put this one underneath it. And then you just press it on. Hang on, let me loosen up a little. Sometimes you got to adjust it. And then just press it on like that and tighten your screw at the top. And you're ready to go. But I am going to use a scroll. So I'll show you real quick how I go about doing that. And the only reason is I prefer using the scroll over using the hoop, but it's your preference. And like I said, if this is something you're going to just like get into and you don't quite know, then I would do a hoop. And I'm just going to put my first, it's like a dowel rod in here, and I'm going to kind of try and center it a little bit. Like so. Bring out. I'm going to take my second one, find the right end, and just slightly open it. Now I've noticed that with no matter what you use, it does loosen up and it does run away from you, and you're going to have issues with that no matter if you use a scroll or a hoop. People might disagree, but that's how I feel about it. Just kind of centering this in here as best as I can. Okay, now I'm going to take my ends. These are the ends of it. Stick them in. It's not loose enough. Oop. Sometimes they're kind of a pain to get in. That one's kind of not loose enough either. Oh, for real though. Hang on. The struggle is real. I'm going to loosen these up. There, I don't think they were loose enough. Try again. There we go. There we go. Did not have them loosened enough. Okay, so I'm going to stick that on that side. And make sure these are loose enough. And stick these on this side. Okay. Now I'm going to tighten these. Not too tight because I still have to adjust, but enough to keep them on there. Okay, now I take these and bring this down. Like that. And then I just turn them like that to tighten them. Put a little on this end. Now, mind you, I tighten that too much. There we go. Still too tight. There we go. See how that tightens that fabric? I'm just gonna, this one seems a little crooked. Say lovey. Okay, now I'm gonna tighten the top and then I'm gonna make sure it's real tight. Okay, so the top is all tightened, and I'm just gonna turn these and tighten them. I think I put it on backwards. Oh well. There we go. And now we are on our scroll. Now you can do that, like I said, with a hoop. It's way simpler. But now you know how to use a scroll if you ever get one. And you want this kind of be like a loose drum feel to the top. You know, you want some good tautness to it, but not over the top. So we know where our center is. We got put on our hoop or scroll, whichever we're using. Now, and we figured out our center. So we need to look at our pattern. And we're going to start at the center. Now, when you look at your pattern, most of the time, there's going to be these little black arrows, okay? There's one on this side, and then up at the top, there's another at the top. And basically, you take those two arrows and connect them to find your center. Now, I'm going to do that really fast. Set this aside. And I'm going to take my highlighter and I'm going to mark it. So, 1 second. It's right here. So now I know where my center is, okay? And I marked it right there. So that's my center, okay? And you see the symbols there. So I want to start directly on that center. So I'm going to start on this ampersand symbol here. And there's only two colors there. Whatever, that's what we're going to do because that's where we want to start. So, take our thread. I need to find that ampersand symbol here. Here it is. Okay. And I'm going to take one of my strands off. Now, the thing about it is when you do cross stitch, most charts want you to do them in 2 strands. I need to read my chart and see if it says hang on, I'm reading. I'm sorry, 1 second. Boy, they get really into stuff here. It's not telling me what. A lot of them will tell you how many strands for each. Right here. Okay, found it. 2 strands for half cross stitch and cross stitch. So we need 2 strands. So basically, I don't know why that took me so long. I'm sorry, I am kind of suffering from a minor headache today. I think it might be a little bigger by the end of the day because it seems like one of those, the weather's changing really suddenly and I always tend to get a headache when that happens. So I call it the weather headache. Now, each one of these strands, let me bring you in here. We're going to need to come in closer for this. So each strand, each length of floss here has 6 little strands within it. Okay. Now to separate that, I like to kind of tap at the top of it. And then I will take my finger and I'll pull one thread a little bit out. Just a little bit. This is interrupting the camera, I think. Like this. Okay, and then what I'll do is I will keep my fingers pinched here where I'm holding the threads and just gently pull. And they'll kind of bunch together and they'll fall right back apart, okay? But I got one, it's a gray color, so it's hard to see. I got one thread out of there, okay? And I'm gonna need two because the pattern calls for two, and you don't want to do too many because you might run out of floss. So if you get a kit and they want you to do 2 strands for every cross stitch and you do 3, you're gonna probably run out of floss. So always try and make sure you use what they recommend. There's another one there. And I'm going to just gently pull that through. Just like that. Okay. And now I have my other piece of floss. Now, I'm going to take this, put it out of the way. I take both those strands and I'm going to connect them, put them together. Make them somewhat even as best I can. And that gives me my 2 strands, okay? Now we'll grab our fabric here. I'm gonna grab my threader and my needle. And I don't know if anybody hasn't used one of these, but if you haven't, this is just a standard needle threader here. You put your needle onto the threader through the eye, like that, okay? And then you put your thread through the threader, maybe, like that. Okay, and then I like to grab my needle and pull through and take your threader off. And you are threaded up. Okay, now we're starting in the center. So, okay, this is hard for me. I have to grab my needle minder. Needle minder is just kind of what it sounds like. It minds your needle for you. I've made my own, and basically it's a magnet. See, there's a magnet on this side of it, and you stick it on there. And then you take another little magnet and you stick it on the back like that. And it will hold your needle with a magnet. Makes it really nice. So you want to look at your pattern. And I need to do 2 cross stitches there. Okay, so I'm going to pick up my work here. I'm going to take this pin out of here. And then I'm going to put my needle in. And so you bring your needle up through. Now don't pull it all the way through. This is not a good color for this. This is the back of our work here. See this that's our thread. We want to leave a little bit there. And do not pull it all the way through. Now, I started here. This is so hard to film. This is why I stopped doing these. Because it's really hard to film these tiny itty-bitty squares. Okay. I put my thread through here. And I'm going across that above. See, think of the cross stitch as these 4 little dots, right? Well, we started on the bottom left-hand dot right here. And we are going to cross our way over to the upper right-hand dot, okay? And that is where we're going to bring our needle through. Now we have to make sure we are not pulling our back through as we are doing this. So I like to hold mine with my finger. And I'm going to bring it through just like that. Now, we're going to go right next door because we're doing 2 stitches. So we're going to go next to each other. So you go right below the one you just went into. If I can find it. You guys probably can't even see this. Okay, so I'm coming back up through there. Pull gently, very, very gently. And then we're going to go up into the top upper right hand dot. Okay. And pull it down. So that would technically be 2 half stitches. So now we need to go make them full. So we need to go back below to that right hand one. And then as we're doing this, we're going to flip around and see this is the thread we're working with here. But we need to anchor down our thread from the entrance where we started, this tail here. Okay, so we're going to flip that under here. Maybe. Okay, I have to let go of that needle. I can't do this one-handed. I just set it in there, like that. So I flipped it up through where this is on either side of it because we want to pin that down. So now I can pull all the way through. As I pull, you'll see it pin down the tail. See that? And that pin that tail down. You want to do that on the next one too, so it holds it good. Now we're going to go backwards because we got our 2 stitches in. Over on that side. We'll do this again with a brighter color. I'm going to find a better color. I just wanted to get my initial ones in. Okay, so now we need to make sure we pin down our tail again. So I like to take the little hoop that's here and I kind of open it up. And then I take my tail and bring it through that hoop. And lay it down so it holds it tight. Now I'm going to be honest. I'm not even going to lie right now because I don't do this normally. This is the technical way you're supposed to start because you shouldn't have any knots. I quick knot. I'm not lying. This is so time consuming and it takes forever, and I'm not showing these to a museum or out at 4-H or something like that, or the fair or craft show or any of that. This is for me. So I knot. I'm going to be 100% honest. I totally knot my work. And I really don't care. I know people would talk bad about me for saying that, but you know what? I really don't. So if you can see this gray is a terrible color. You can see our 2 stitches. I'm going to get us a brighter color on here so we can actually see this a lot better. And I will show you how I knot mine. I just wanted to show you the right way before I showed you the wrong way, if that makes sense. Because I totally showed you the proper way. And it's proper because there are no knots. And people do say that the knots, make it bumpy and all this other stuff. But for me, it's just, like I said, I do this for me, not for show, not to win awards. So to me, it's not that big of a deal. Now, I finished those 2 squares of that. Where was it? Right here. And now, whoa, I dropped it. I'm going to take my marker, okay, and I am going to mark those off because I've put those on, and that way I know. And it makes it way easier for me to be able to tell. Now let's see if we have a brighter color next. Oh yeah, it's green. We're going to go with that color. So we're going to do our green. This way I can show you a proper cross stitch when you can actually see it. Gray on white, not a very good color for video tutorials. but I don't choose what starts. But that way I know where my center is. Even though you can't see it, I can. But I know where my center is, and I can get us going. Now I'm going to start another thread. This is my green color. I'm using my next color. And I'm using 2 strands. Put them together here. Like so. I got to do this quick. I got to get to work soon. And I'm going to thread it up here. Get her threaded. Now, I will show you how I do it. You don't have to do it this way. Do it the proper way if you want. I don't care. That's not my choice. I don't like to do it that way, and that's just how I am. I just don't have the patience for that. But if you don't either, you can do it this way. So, I'll bring it out just a touch. I give my finger a little lick, and I put it on my tip of my finger, and roll it off and pinch it, and there's my little knot. And I'm sorry, I know a lot of the cross stitch community is just like, don't do it, but I did, and I always do. So now we're going to start with an X, and the X is the green going next to our gray. So I put those 2 gray guys on there. Let's see if we can get you angled a little. Bring in. Now, so you want to come up on your side here. This is where my pattern is. So come up on the bottom left and pull it through. Now, go catty-cornered into the upper right dot, hole, whatever you want to call it, and bring it down, and then go down below that one into the bottom right, like that, and then back, crossed over in the upper left. And there's your little X. Tiny little X. Oh, this is so hard to film. I'm sorry. This is why I just have to do a stitch along, because you guys can't see what I'm doing. Can you see the X there? Oh yeah, okay. So that's one of our X's. Now I'm gonna keep following my pattern, but I'm gonna show you a couple more times. So you go up, and then you're gonna wanna go to the catty corner, to the top, upper right. Hang on, I gotta find it. There. Okay. Pull it through. And then below that. Now you can go X by X by X by X, or you can go in a row. And what I mean by going in a row, so I need 3 of these here, okay? So I'm going to do, instead of going back up here, like I did to make this X to finish it, I'm going to start a new cross stitch. I'm going to go through there. And then go through the upper right. And then I'm going to go back over through this one. And then back down to the upper right. Okay, so as you can see there, I have 3 half cross stitches there that I can finish. So that's my row of the 3 greens that I needed, okay? And now I do see that I need another green underneath that. So I'm going to go underneath and make a green. And see, I'm what they consider a cross-country stitcher. And that means basically I go kind of color by color all over the place. I kind of just travel around. I'm a wanderer. And some people choose to go square by square by square of the pattern. It kind of depends on how you like to stitch and what you like to do. As far as like aiming where the needle goes, that it'll take time for you to get a feel for it. It takes a little bit of time to get a feel for things, you know. It's practice like anything. Now you see I'm using all of these I currently made, and I'm going back to finish that sequence of that color. And I was able to stitch all those half ones and then just travel back. Now the reason I did that, you will see here in a second. Now I know I said I don't care about my backs, but I do when it comes to wasting thread. And see, I didn't use very much thread at all there on the back because I traveled with it. I went through and I did the whole sequence of that green at once. So, and then I'm going to go back onto my chart and I'm going to mark off those X's that I stitched, which would be that little group there of X's. And that's basically your basics. Now, I unfortunately have to get running to work, so I'm going to have to end this video here where we're at. We will get into more cross-stitching, though. I'm thinking we can do some stitch-alongs. We can learn different stitches together and things of that nature. I just thought it would be something kind of fun that we could get into together. So I'm going to end this here. I will have more stitching videos coming up later on. And any questions you might have regarding beginning stitching, let me know, because if you're not a beginner, this is going to be totally boring to you. But if you are, let me know if there's any questions that you have, and we'll go from there, or any requests for anything to be demonstrated. Now, like I said, this is a craft of patience, just like with beading. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of time, but the outcome is worth it. But if you're new to this and you're not quite sure, try something real small out and then work your way up or go from there. See if you like it. I appreciate you guys stopping by today. I hope you have a great success with this. Maybe this can help you get into something new that you've never tried before. It's good to be back. I missed everybody, so I think it's I don't know. It's interesting being back. It's been a long time, so I'm happy to be back and be with everybody, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Any questions, comments, like I said, feel free to leave them down below. Please like and subscribe, and thanks for coming by today.